the Prince's Bride.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
As Fezzik nursed his inebriated friend back to health.
Conceivable.
What have I done? Ow.
I kill a lot of people.
Who was this?
Humpity.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Movie Snob. We are back after a little hiatus, a little vacay in the summer, and welcome back, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The team's gotten a
Good
little...
to be back.
Good to be back. Oh, Pat, I forgot you were there, buddy. Sorry.
Oh.
If you can't tell, we've gotten a little bit larger.
Hey!
Oh,
After all
Hey-o.
these years.
After all these
Figured
years.
it out.
Does that learn?
Jeez, I gotta get better words. There are more of us. And maybe I have gotten a little larger over the summer, but that's another thing to talk about on this episode. That's for a different one. Guys, I'm going to introduce us, starting with myself, of course, because I'm the one with the microphone. So there we go. I'm Seth, and to my left is...
Mariah.
And to her left is...
Lora.
And from far, far away...
Patrick.
And guys, we are your How to Be a Movie Snob team this week. We have a doozy. We have a new guest on the show, Miss Lora, or Mrs. Laura, excuse me.
Special guest.
Off the market, folks, just so you know.
This is not a dating podcast.
That would be a whole new crowd.
What kind of man are you looking for?
Still hanging out with cousins.
My husband is
Still
at the casino, so we'll
Oh,
see.
so maybe she is free.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
To be
You want a risk taker?
Who's getting
Okay.
lucky now? Okay. So, guys, we have a special guest star, and we let her kind of guide this week's movie. Just going to be real right now.
Not with her, though.
No.
We guided it on her behalf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
now,
forced her into a choice.
we had some options. Now, this is the goal of this movie podcast, of course, by the title, is to become a movie snob. However, we do have to acknowledge there are some movies that, although are liked by the general public, can also be good. It doesn't mean if it's
Very good.
popular, it's bad. So today, we are doing a movie that, unfortunately, folks, it's popular. People actually like it. So, and I know that usually goes against the grain of the How to Be a Movie Snob podcast, to be real.
Not necessarily when it came out, though. So
That's
we get
true.
a
We
little
do
bit
get
of
some-
the
we
cult
do-
classic version of snobbiness.
That's right.
Although then it became not so cult.
Once
The
again,
cult of the entire world.
as the world goes, saved by VHS. That's how this. Maybe that's what our podcast should be called. Saved by VHS. That'd be really hip right now. We're gonna start out not with hot takes, but just by quotes, and then we'll go into our hot takes. Because by the time we do the quotes, I'm sure most of y'all will know what the heck we are talking about. Pat, we always start with you because you're far away and you don't have a choice. So there you go, buddy. Give us your quote.
Out of context, this maybe will be weirder. But the quote is, "It's possible, pig. I might be bluffing.
Oh, it's great.
It's conceivable, you miserable, vomitous mass,
Oh, so good.
that I'm only
That's
lying
right.
here because I
I
lack
knew
the
it.
strength to stand.
That's so good.
But then again, perhaps I have the strength after all."
Oh, Pat, you dirty dog.
Drop
you took that
your
one.
sword.
You dirty
I had
dog.
it ready. That was my pick.
Okay,
Well,
we're
that's why I
going
gotta go first.
to give
Darn.
Mariah a little chance to go find her next one. Laura, do you have your quote?
Oh, yeah. It's very long and complicated.
Yeah, please tell me.
I only dog pedal.
That's perfect. Mine is, Tyrone, you know how much I love watching your work, but I've got my country's 500th anniversary to plan, my wedding to arrange, my wife to murder, and Gilder to frame for it. I'm swamped. Get some rest. If you haven't got your health, then you haven't got anything. It's got it too, but that was my favorite.
All right.
All right, Rao, what are you going to go with?
Mine is a little long, I guess.
Look.
But that Vicini, he can fuss. Fuss. I think he liked to scream at us. Probably he means no harm. He's really very short on charm. You have a great gift for rhyme. Yes, some of the time. And it goes on and on. But I really like the rhyming.
Yeah.
So good.
My Yeah, my honorable mention is I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
Used.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
I'm not going to be that if you got a keffa. None of us did the classics, of course. The As You Wish.
I mean...
Inconceivable. They're so...
Marriage.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
Yes. And we'll get into that because, guys, it's so hard not to just jump in. Guys, if you can't tell, gals, all those out there, we are talking about
Folks.
the one, the only, the Princess Bride. And there was much weeping in Gilder. No, and there was much rejoicing. Folks, we did this one. And by the way, this is on my top 10 list of all time, just for the record. So we are doing kind of a snobby movie because we are picking a movie that's only on my list. Thank you very much. So I appreciate the pick out there, Laura. But since Mariah, Pat, and I have done our top 10, we're going to give Laura a chance to give her top 10 before we do our hot takes because we got to figure out who Laura is. Folks, if you don't know, you can't tell. Who is this Laura? This is getting real.
Did we mention she's related?
Yes.
Nepotism would be the name of the game.
Not
for this
as related
podcast.
as Mariah and Pat, but
no, pretty much.
Slightly less.
no doubt there.
Not
They're-
technically.
I am now the outsider. That's the thing. Out of this group, I am now the outsider. So
The least blood.
I am the least connected with this group. Laura, who are you related to in this group here right now?
all of you.
Okay, good
sadly.
couple. Yeah.
Yes. Brother, sister, cousin.
Yeah, and that's not the relationship. He's the brother, I'm the cousin, and she's the sister.
Yeah.
It's not like one person.
That's
does all
right.
those
Good
things.
job, Seth.
Not my brother, sister,
My
cousin.
brother, you're my brother, sister, cousin.
Brother, husband.
Brother, husband, cousin. All right, Laura.
Are you guys brother and
Thelma.
sister? No.
No.
Yes.
Laura, let's give it down from. Do you have an order, or how do you want to do this?
No, I just wrote them down.
I love it.
So
Okay.
I do feel like
Musings.
this is a good, doing a popular movie with me because I am not a movie snob.
Nice.
And so all of mine are ones that I will watch. If they're on TV, I'm going to watch it every time.
Nice.
And-
Okay.
Or if I have to find something on Netflix, I'm going to pick one of these.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Love it.
Laura
So-
always has the Criterion collection going. Criterion channel.
Yeah.
Hey, Max has got it all.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Yeah. So in no order here. Dirty Dancing,
you. Ooh.
Grease,
Ooh.
The Proposal. I know, dumb.
That's a fun one.
It is a
know.
fun one.
Betty White.
My,
Yes.
my only problem with The Proposal is Ryan Reynolds is 100% Canadian the whole movie, and
They're in Alaska.
yeah, even though he's supposed to be the one from Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like every Canadian I've watched that with is like, there's nothing Canadian about Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
No.
Like nothing. Like
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds can't help but exude Canadianness.
Yeah.
That's the irony of that movie.
Yeah. Step Brothers,
Oh, good one.
White Christmas,
Okay.
Pride and Prejudice, which my favorite is actually a miniseries,
Yeah.
but I'll take the movies also.
Okay.
The Family Stone,
Oh,
Persuasion,
She's got 2 Christmas movies on there.
Ooh.
and 16 Candles.
Nice. Little 80s, little John Hughes action going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, that's a good list, Laura. It's a good list. We could punch holes in all of our lists,
Oh,
of course,
for sure.
but that's not bad. That's actually not as...
You're not too embarrassed.
I
It's
mean,
not-
there's definitely snobbiness.
Yeah,
in there,
I mean,
know?
The Proposal won't make a most snobby list. I'll give you that. But as far as rewatchable movies go, it's up there.
I'd rewatch all
As
of those.
far as
and do.
rewatchable, yeah. That'd be one of the more rewatchable rom-coms of all time. I'd put top 20 rewatchable rom-com of all time. That'd be
Step
on my
Brothers.
list.
Isn't there which Persuasion, Laura? Isn't there like a billion persuasions?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariah can remember the actress's name, but
you're
the
not-
one we grew up with.
You're
is,
not joking, Pat. I hear you.
You know.
Oh, we're talking about movie stuff. My bad. Okay.
What? Pride and Prejudice?
No, the
No,
Persuasion.
Oh. No, I don't know the Persuasion one. Actress's name.
Well, we'll get the research
The
team
one we
on
grew
that.
up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are...
I'll
Okay, research team is on that one. Okay, guys, while she's researching Persuasion, I assume we all rewatched this week. Well, how was
Yes.
that? How'd that go for you guys? Was that...
It was easy.
It was... Did you feel like
Fantastic.
I knew every single second of this movie?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly right. There's not one moment. I do have one thing I feel I have a little up on you. I had Dottie watch the first half of this movie, and it was magical. For the listeners out there, my daughter is 6 years old, which is a prime time for like introducing like new genres. Like she hasn't even watched like real Star Wars yet. Like she's just getting a taste for all these things of like cultural moments.
Non-animated.
Yeah, so this was like one of the first like non-animated movies she's seen. And at first she was like, "Oh, cool." And then when they like they had making jokes back and forth between Fred Savage and the grandpa, she kind of got a little bored. She's like, "Dad, this is and then she could barely finish the word boring, and already she was back into it. And she was enamored to that screen. She was just hook, line, and sinker. And she's like, and you know, kids these days, am I right?
Yeah.
This is like watching a person movie is not as interesting. They just watched, Ryan was just telling me, they watched If. And
some of those kids had a hard time getting past the not as much animation.
got bored. So here it is, guys. This movie.
I believe I showed our children a couple of years ago, and they enjoyed it. Have your children seen it, Laura?
No, and Mariah would tell you, she asks them all the time, have you seen this movie? No. What is your mom doing?
She's rewatching those 10 movies and not watching
I
anything.
know. Persuasion over Princess
Finn
Bride.
has seen parts of it, but I don't think he's super. I actually think he watched it a few years ago, maybe. And I think parts of it he was just kind of whatever.
I'm telling you, I think he. Now Dottie's totally into princesses though, so she's like in.
Right.
She's like into all. She's like, wait, princesses don't have to be cartoons; they can be people. Like it was it was a big moment, guys.
Delaney would probably
tell you
really
what, I
like it
didn't-
now because she has this humor now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I realized, like every time I watch this movie, I don't always know what Andre is saying. And I actually put subtitles on when he's dressed up as Dread Pirate Roberts.
The
And I was
whole
like,
speech.
oh, that's
yes.
what you're saying.
I tried to look it
Like
up,
I
and I
kind of knew
didn't
some of it, right?
I didn't see it, or I didn't get
Because
all
he's
of
like,
it.
my men are here, and I am here, you know. And I was like,
Oh,
I
my
never knew
men
what those
are
lines
here,
were.
and
My men are
soon
here.
you will not be here.
And soon you will not be here.
Yeah.
So he has always been very difficult for me to understand every time I've watched this movie,
Yeah.
and I go, "That's just this movie. You just don't know all the lines.
Yeah.
It's fine."
And he's
like
still
even the
one of
rhyming
the best parts
stuff.
of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's
All right.
so charming. But
Here
all
we
the
go,
rhyming
guys.
bits, I'm like, I don't always know what they're saying.
No, that was hard, but it still was so glad he was cast. Hot takes. Who wants to take away from hot takes?
I can just this movie a little bit.
All right, go for it, Pat.
Here's my
Throw the shade.
So my hot take, sponsored today by my Lucille IPA,
The usual.
is that I kind of, I'm gonna say hate just for
Ooh,
the
good.
hot take
I
of
like
it all.
I like it.
All the music that's not the Wesley Buttercup theme, the non-romantic synthy,
The
kinda drives me
synthesizer.
nuts.
The synthesizer.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is the worst.
It reminds me of
Everything else is great.
Monty
Monty
Python and the Holy
Yeah, exactly
Grail.
right.
Like
But-
it's a lot of like.
But like not as good. Somehow.
No.
Yeah.
It's like
or
somehow
maybe
worse.
because you expect
Exactly
it to be
right.
good, and Monty Python you don't expect
Well,
it to
I
be
think
good.
that the
It's
like
distracting.
romantic theme is great.
So good.
And like they wrote that weird song to it.
Yeah.
You know.
Got a Academy
like-
Award nomination.
Yeah, and that's all great. I just when it's like, and sometimes they play into the comedy, you know, as it's going along with the action, but it's like, ugh, I just really don't like this.
It's the most.
That's what I noticed this time.
Yeah, it's the most
grating.
80s thing about the whole thing. It's the only thing that gives away, other than his room, which is awesome, and the video game he's playing.
Yes.
That you could tell during the period piece, like, oh, this is obviously filmed in the 80s. Because you could be, it could be 70s, 80s, 90s. Like, it could be any of those. But no, that soundtrack is like, oh, that's a Casio.
Well, and the
no-
video game he's playing.
Oh, it's so good.
So that's my hot take.
Okay, my hot take, and I all apologies to Robin Wright, and I'm stealing this hot take from the thing I sent you guys.
Oh,
Yep, when you can replace the lead actress with a sexy lamp, and nothing changes. Not good.
yeah.
Not good. Robin Wright is great, and she's so pretty and she's so lovable, but she's the least important character by 1,000%. It's like not even important at all, and it's such a. It's sad to say that, but like they were talking about all. Well, we could go into what this movie could have been. Like if they just recast with somebody else, I'm like, I've been fine. That's the one part I think they could recast, and this movie would have been just fine.
I don't know, but I will say the book apparently, to go along with the lamp metaphor, Buttercup was more dim in the book. Where
Bad timing on Seth taking a drink.
Right when I took a drink. That's good, Pat. Little more
where in the movie she at least had some
oh yeah, she's
opinion and
she was a little bit
fieriness,
BA. Like she'd fight back with what's his name and
she gave some good speeches.
I still think this is a hot take. I wouldn't die on the sword in this hot take, but that's as much of a diss for this movie as I could get, and that's it. That's as close as I could get. Because I love this movie. This is my top 10. And it remains... Sorry, that might be a real hot take. It's still my top 10 movie of all time. Yeah, I'm right. Oh, and mine's brought to you by Kilt Lifter from Four Peaks Brewing in Arizona. Because I just got back from Arizona. So there you go.
That's nice. I don't know.
Thanks for sharing.
Why do I keep doing this?
You want to tell us about your trip?
Oh my gosh. So anyways, when I was living in Asia...
what did you do in Arizona?
Just go. Okay.
Was it hot?
You know what? I cannot. This is why we don't do this every week.
Was it a dry heat?
You know what? Okay.
Was it a
This
dry
is the
heat?
worst.
That literally came up at dinner today.
Yeah,
It's not
we
as
did
hot
talk
in
about dry heat
because
today.
it's dry.
No,
they said.
yes,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
This is getting to be a boring podcast.
Oh,
Okay, give me your hot take.
So I would say my hot take.
Yes, Lord.
Yes,
Thank you.
jump
Save
in.
us.
Thank
Save
you.
us.
Their whole relationship is based on him saying "as you wish,"
Nice.
and that is definitely not gonna. That's like the dating phase, and then when you get married, like the real person comes out. Like that, it's why they don't show us later on when
Yeah.
they are back together.
They
Can I
definitely
just
didn't
start
make it.
calling you farm boy again?
Yeah,
Would you just
as
keep
you would.
handing me things?
Yeah, she's just negging him the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hand me that picture
Yeah.
that's 6 inches
It's
in
not
front
gonna
of
work
my
out,
face.
I don't think. But I mean, I could be wrong.
That's true. That's not a basis for a lasting relationship.
I mean, especially to come like risk your life to save someone. And,
well, yeah,
you know.
and surrounded by trauma.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, there was a lot that happened in the farm years, okay? Who knows?
I guess.
There
once
could be
they
a lot of
settle
things.
down
story.
and they have that first kid, things are going to get real stressful.
I do remember when I was a kid, though, thinking, I don't like her. Like
Yeah.
when because they
Like,
start
why
out and
does
she's
he
mean.
love her?
She's
Yeah.
mean.
I know. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well,
But then it's flirty mean or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And the narrator
Junior
tells
high.
us it's true love, though, Laura.
True
so we just have
love.
to believe them.
to blave.
Yes. I don't know if this is even, as usual, not a good hot take because I don't do these very well. But
it's cool.
the one thing that bothered me watching the movie this time was that I had issues with the whole Battle of Wits scene where he has like an elaborate picnic set up and wine and goblets. It's like when Fezzik is dragging all three of them up the side of the cliffs of insanity, did he pack this bottle of wine and all this picnic gear?
It's funny you say that because I literally thought, man, his bag is huge when he was taking the princess away. Because that scene before, he has this huge man bag.
There it was.
It's a huge man bag.
But did you see it while they're climbing
it didn't
up the
look
cliff?
as full
I mean,
as
they
it should
needed
have been.
supplies.
I'm not going to lie, but
Yeah.
it was a big leather bag that he was carrying. And I was
Wow,
pretty
that
impressed.
helps.
So it had a little consistency there.
Okay. Because you didn't see
I
it
still,
that often.
though, thought
Yeah.
the why of it all.
Why is
Why have you sat down?
why is
and
there
spread out a little?
Why is there a tablecloth?
Exactly right. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I want to get into casting and what this could have been.
Oh,
Let's
man.
jump into this because this is hilarious.
There are some crazy.
Oh, who do you want to start with? Should we start with the Giant? Because the Giant's a good one.
Yeah, Fezzik's got some good ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's start with Fezzik. We all know the one that everyone talks about is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Could have been Fezzik, and was who they wanted, but thankfully there was scheduling issues.
And he'd gotten too big
Well, he
for
got
his
too famous
britches
by
by
the
the time
time.
they made
Yeah,
the.
and he was
this
expensive. Yeah, that's true too.
Well, Andre the Giant, in theory, was always #1 pick, and only could do it because he hurt himself so bad that he couldn't do some China wrestling tour. Or something.
Yeah, he
So
just came out of Tokyo. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
The funny one I saw was Liam Neeson audition.
Yes, that's
and got
great.
laughed off because he wasn't
He was
big
way
enough.
too short.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson is 6'4", y'all.
Yeah.
6'4". Which
But
is
not a giant.
like my height.
No.
Not
Yeah.
a giant.
Yeah. They pat my height.
I think the
6'4".
one that was the biggest mismatch was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And they were that was
And
like a
he
serious
really wanted to-
contention.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he was very interested.
That would have been different. It goes from Airplane to The Princess Bride.
Yeah, I was just thinking, which one is he? Roger.
I know.
I forget which one he
Roger.
Roger.
My favorite part
is. Clarence.
Clarence. My favorite part is the kid saying, "Yeah, I don't know, but Kareem, he just takes it easy until he gets to the playoffs." Like grabs the kid. You try going every season, ho.
Look, kid.
That was so good.
We're not talking about that.
That was the most likable Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was ever in his entire history of the NBA. Sorry, Kareem. You're still
Yeah.
the dream, but come on, buddy.
Bassini.
Oh, this is the most obvious because he literally was so insecure. It's almost sad how insecure he was because he killed it for
Yeah.
that one. Who was
It's gonna
it?
be Danny DeVito.
Dan-
Mr. Danny DeVito himself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. That was just
It was a rumor.
a potential
Yeah.
cast. But
Yeah.
I don't know that he ever. I don't know how serious it ever got.
It was
No, and once they got started too, I think the author was saying, "You're exactly the voice that I wanted, so stop sweating it."
yeah, but he was like
Even though he's not Sicilian.
for sure. But he definitely said some interviews he actually said like, "Oh, I'm doing my best Danny DeVito impression," which is hilarious to me.
Because that doesn't
Well, and
say
he's
Danny
sweating the
DeVito to
whole
me
time.
watching him.
Which is great. It actually
Apparently,
works
because he was so nervous. Yeah, I actually thought it was good.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
like oh,
Carrie Ellis
amazing.
had this interview where he's like, "Oh, I think this works really well. That you're super nervous and I'm all calm."
Yeah.
But he didn't know why.
Yeah. It was like in Superbad, they apparently Jonah Hill got super annoyed with the guy who played McLovin because he was so chill.
Jonathan Mintz-Plasse.
And that like dynamic of Jonah Hill being pissed off the whole time works so good for like the same sort of thing. It's like, oh, sweet, you're just a nervous wreck. Perfect. That's actually why we keep Mariah on the show. We need that energy, that just nervousness.
Yeah.
And
I am sweating a little bit.
It's only because you had a
That's
sweater.
because I'm 45. Cut that. Cut that.
cut. She said 25.
Yeah.
25.
And I was out for a run. That's why I'm.
That's right. He says lift your weights. It was in the weight room.
Yeah.
Buttercup.
Buttercup.
Buttercup. All the
Lots of
hot-
That's kind of a
Buttercups.
classic 80s.
Yeah, all the lineup.
Sean Young.
Courtney Cox.
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman would have been interesting.
Whoopi.
The wild card.
Yeah.
Whoopi
Howard
Goldberg.
Whoopi. That, I
Goldberg.
feel like that would have been a real hard
That
sell.
would have been. I don't. She's just so funny.
Yeah.
And just so likable, but like friend likable. Sorry, Whoopi, I love you, but sex symbol
I'm not going to go kill.
historically
Yeah,
is not
she
bad.
can play
to
the
rescue
quirky
you.
psychic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not a princess, I don't think.
I don't know.
I mean, she would have been interesting, right? If
Yeah.
that actually
And that-
happened, she'd
that
at
year,
least be a very interesting
1987,
version of the character.
Whoopi Goldberg too. Because we remember, we're still thinking Star Trek Next Generation, Whoopi Goldberg, you know.
Sister Act, Ghost.
Sister Act 2.
Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. Might have seen that.
Yeah,
Why
was
wasn't
she
that on your
dating-
list?
I
You know
know,
we
right?
watched that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Dating Ted Danson at the time.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
she did.
That's right. Okay. Who else did we have? So that was the
I
big
mean,
one.
she's very pretty at the time.
Yeah.
I
She
know-
could have done it.
I don't know that there was a lot of other discussion about who else could have played those other parts.
Wesley.
No, I think Carrie was.
Wesley.
Carrie had it.
Yeah, was there
Was there
another?
other ones for Carrie? I can't remember. I don't. They
No,
weren't
I
as
think they
interesting.
wanted him because he had like the Errol Flynn quality.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. He just come off some Lady Jane or something.
Yeah.
Some British.
Oh yeah, with Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's
very
trippy.
young.
I love
Oh
that
my
movie.
gosh.
Yeah.
You forget, like, because she became so popular in the 2000s and 2010s that you forget, like, oh yeah, 80s.
She did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
80s. That's crazy. Okay, Mandy Patinkin. Man, it's
I didn't
funny.
see anything for him either.
Yeah, no. What I love about this movie,
No, he was.
no one
solid.
was an A-list. No one was A-list
No.
back then, right?
No,
not even
including the
close.
director.
Well, he was.
I mean,
kind
he
of.
was an actor though.
He was
hadn't-
hot. He had some heat
He
on
was
him.
hot. He just did
Because Stand
Spinal
By
Tap.
Me and
and Spinal
Yeah.
Tap. He was so everyone liked him. He's been killing
well,
it.
and then Chris Sarandon had just done Fright Night, I think was.
Oh yeah.
You know, which I think that did well enough for that kind of movie, but it's still like a B-ish movie.
There is one person in here who's A-list. The person you can't recognize because of his
Billy
makeup.
Crystal.
That's what I was
Billy
thinking.
freaking Crystal.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was the one. But you couldn't even. I didn't know it was Billy Crystal for years.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know
Who
actors
made half the cast have to like giggle off of set over and over
that'd
again.
been so fun. That'd been so fun.
That would have been really.
We got this movie because there's so many interviews out there, guys. There's so many. There's the 20th anniversary, the 25th anniversary. Like, there's just so many interviews. And of course, I'm shamelessly having the book here, As You Wish. Is an incredible book, which apparently I'm the only one in this group who's read, which is very surprising. But he goes through all of it, like the stories of Andre passing out in the hotel, and it's Andre the Giant, so he weighs like what 500 pounds or something.
And he's had like 80 beers.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like he would
That
get
look like tiny little things.
Yeah, me too. It's like the amount of alcohol he took to get buzzed was ridiculous. So and it's this story I cannot. I'd almost suggest the book, the audiobook as well, because Carrie reads it and it's just delightful.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Just delightful. So, folks, As You Wish, if you want a bunch of insider stuff, it is incredible. If you're a fan of Princess Bride, which I thought I had around me, but apparently not, you should read this book.
It's only been out the last 5 years, something like that.
I don't know.
They
already had a book signing at Powell's. Carrie has already been to Powell's a few years ago to do some book signing for it, but yeah, it was a good one. So let's talk about now. Do you want to talk about the money it made, money it didn't? You got the numbers, Money Mariah?
I have some numbers.
Give me some numbers. Give me the numbers on this bad boy.
Budget $16 million.
And that's pretty modest for 1987, right? That's not bad. It's like not low budget, but it's not like crazy. I wonder what that had been back then.
Yeah.
Comparison.
Box office almost doubled.
Yeah.
30.9.
Which is not much.
Modest. Pretty modest.
And I always wonder, like, with
I don't know how many like
marketing,
theaters it was out in though.
Yeah, I don't either. I'd also be interested.
This film apparently tested better than every other movie that came out, but they didn't know how to market it. And apparently, the main advertisement was like Peter Falk reading a book to Fred Savage.
Oh, which
Yeah.
doesn't
like, what is this movie?
tell
Yeah.
you anything.
No, it
like,
doesn't.
hey, Columbo's
And then
in
Fatal
this.
Attraction, I think, came out at the same time, so people were like, "That's the adult movie,"
Whoa.
you know.
is
So
the
like,
kids'
might go
movie.
see this kids movie.
Yeah, which makes sense. And it was the 80s were such a rough time for movies. Like rated R movies were the thing. They're like all these like hard
Or John Hughes movies.
or John Hughes, but that was at least marketed correctly. Like the 80s movies, they're like rated R for adults or like super kid. Yeah.
Well, this is hard to like quantify what this movie is, right? It's all these things. It's
Right.
this fantasy, action, adventure, family, but
And
pretty
it's not,
witty
but
adult.
not a Disney movie.
Nope.
Not Disney.
Although
like,
I'll be honest, it could have been.
Well, it is now.
It is now because they bought Fox, but that's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, I mean, I would put it like as, I'd compare it at the time to movies that I watched a lot, which have been like Flight of the Navigator and like kind of
E.T.
fantasy,
or
kind
like
of
E.T.
Willow.
E.T. Willow.
Willow, or of course the most depressing movie of all time, Artax, Atreyu.
Yeah, Neverending Story.
Neverending Story. It'd be that same sort of thing. This fantasy.
The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Gamog. Except none of those are as fun.
No, or as smart.
I mean, Willow's pretty fun, but like the
Labyrinth
writing
is
in this
fun.
is so
good.
That's what honestly, watching this time, I was like, man, the writing is just fun. Like they're just having a good time.
Yeah.
There's all these weird little asides.
And you know it's like
fact
a
that
labor of
Fezzik's
love,
good at
too.
rhyming.
Yeah, that's so silly.
What?
Yeah.
is
Who
that?
who came up with that and
Yeah.
thought, hey, let's take a break in the movie for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's what they figured out now with Disney movies is that you need to have some like adult
Yes.
funny things that the adults get that the kids don't get. They had that
Yeah.
in this, but
And the
a little
pauses.
ahead
They
of
have
its
the
time.
pauses now too, because now they do those silly like ad lib stuff. But that was kind of like that ad lib part. It felt like, oh, what's going on right now? Because now
Right.
people do that all the time.
Well, like Vicini's whole speech, never get involved in the land war in Asia, and like
second only to
Socrates, morons.
morons.
Oh, it's just like it's such a
Have a
silly.
thematic landmass.
It threads the needle of like, this is an absurd fantasy silly movie, but everyone takes like the emotional stakes sincerely, right? Like
sure.
The revenge,
but it's also so like just the entire preamble to the fight.
Folks,
the amazing sword fight.
For those
who
who are listening online, you can hear the ASMR of Laura
Sorry.
switching her can.
Sorry.
brought to you by High Noon.
High Noon.
The ASMR
I'm
you're
sorry,
hearing
Pat. I
right
couldn't hear what
now
you're
is
saying. Go
brought
ahead.
to you by High Noon.
No, it's fine.
I'm gonna do here in a
Fine.
second, Laura, when I pop up my can. I just had to get the weird sound. Also, there's no beats. Like, it goes so quick. Like, my 6-year-old was enamored. I didn't realize how well it like went from one plot point to the next, where there's no like real drag. It's just.
I feel like just the beginning.
It's
there's
so lean.
some drag.
Yes.
Yeah, you could definitely turn it on and be like, "What? This is stupid. I'm not going to keep watching
Which
this."
is literally what she said.
But-
as soon as she formed the sentence, though, it went off, and then it was gone. And
Well, in the
then there was
minute
no
she's
time.
kidnapped, the movie doesn't slow down.
No, it is
Oh yeah,
just gold.
snapping between shots. The other thing I guess I honestly I forgot watching it this time was like, why is Prince Humperdinck so bad? Because the beginning like quarter of the movie,
He's great.
he's like a nice dude.
He's
in
just a
theory
guy
doing
who
everything
loves
he's doing.
this girl that doesn't love him back.
Well, no, but then we
Yeah.
find out that he wanted her murdered.
Yes.
So, but that
Right,
but, like,
later. Yeah.
On this rewatch, I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
As I was just taken by the movie, even though of course I remember everything. I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, wait, why? What's so wrong with him?
Yeah.
Just that he's not loved by, he's not Wesley. But then I was like, oh no, right? He's a real vomitous mess.
Yeah.
He's, it's very Prince John, Sheriff of Nottingham kind of relationship.
And Frozen.
Between him and the
Hello.
Count.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is this is
100%
the story
Frozen.
of Frozen,
Yes,
y'all.
It's pretty Frozen. Yeah.
Pretty Frozen.
Hans.
Hans.
Hans? Is it Hans?
Yeah, it was Hans. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought.
But Robin doesn't sing, and maybe that's why.
That's probably why. Because
dissed her
Hans,
so bad.
Hans was even harder to reconcile when he was a bad guy. I'm not gonna lie.
Also, Carrie Elwes. I've seen so much Carrie Elwes, older Carrie Elwes. He's a dreamboat at the beginning of this movie.
He really, with the hair.
Yeah, I was like,
he's
oh.
a very attractive
Yes, he's
farm
very
boy.
attractive.
There's a
for
lot
sure.
of eye candy between him and Robin Wright at the beginning. You're like, these are just really good-looking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the filming, they were smitten with each other too.
Which is
so
obvious.
there's the
Yeah.
chemistry right there too.
Have you watched the interviews when they're older? They're still super flirty. Like there's like it must have been like one of those like early in your Hollywood careers, like the first crushes you had in Hollywood. Like because when they talk, they're very like.
Yeah.
You can almost see Carrie feel a little uncomfortable with how flirty they are in the interviews. Because I'm like, but Robin's like and Robin White kills it in everything she does.
Yeah.
But it's great because the chemistry is amazing and honest, and there's no question about it. Unlike other movies and shows, House of Dragon, I'm looking at you. That's so terrible.
Mariah said it's getting
The
good.
last episode was great.
Better be good. I gave up.
I
at the
promise
the
you,
first
you're gonna be
season
into
sucked.
it.
So it started so good and then just got so bad. Okay.
I don't think I finished the first season.
It's so bad. You were
No,
not wrong.
keep going.
Okay, no, whatever. Just,
Tangent.
come on
Tangent
now.
alert.
Come on now.
On that, at the beginning, I was thinking, is Columbo really that old? Like he looked to me,
Yeah, you're like,
he's
how-
wearing a wig or
Yeah.
something.
How old is
Is that
Peter?
just
Looked like they
me? Or
frosted
How
yeah.
old is Peter Falk
So-
really? And this is post Columbo,
This is-
right?
it gets
So he
better.
is pretty old.
It gets better, Laura. It gets better. So a Rob Reiner interview, they talk about this very thing. And Peter
like I
Faulkner,
googled it.
Like
Yeah.
clearly he's a grandpa
Peter
without
Faulkner-
needing any makeup for
he
that.
literally...
Faulkner, Seth.
Thank you.
Faulkner.
Thank you.
Here goes
Sorry.
again.
Here we go.
We have to correct
the
Seth a
range.
lot.
He told Rob Reiner, he's like, oh, no, I need this old man makeup. And he put on all this prosthetic. And Rob Reiner wasn't about to tell him, like, bro, you're old enough already.
Yeah. I mean,
So
look at Fred Savage. You don't have to be
Exactly
that
right.
old to be his grandfather.
And so seriously, like they took all the then he realized how ridiculous. Like I guess I could just do it with no makeup because he already looks that old.
yeah,
So
okay,
that's,
but he looked
But he's
like
still gray. It looked like they chalked
yeah.
his
Yeah,
hair
they chalked
gray
his
like
hair,
a high
but-
school musical or
Yeah.
But
something.
he
look
thought he
natural.
looked too young to be the grandpa, and
And really, really even the wardrobe. It's not much different than Columbo's wardrobe.
No, he just came off the set and they threw some powder in his hair. Yeah, it was good to go.
Like, okay, grandpa mode now.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Fred Savage is probably the biggest star in this movie. That's the joke. That's a hilarious thing about this movie. It's like Scream, the biggest star.
Not when it came out.
Oh, he wasn't?
because it was pre.
Oh, it was
Pre-Wonder Years.
See, it's
or
hard
like
for
probably
us.
right before, right?
Oh,
yeah.
that's so good.
Yes.
So all of us.
But just great casting.
It is great casting.
He was basically
free.
I think that's what's weird about this movie too, that we all watched in our childhood. Like all of that's mixed.
Yeah.
Columbo and
Wonder of the Years.
Andre the Giant might have been one of the biggest stars in everybody.
Yes.
They were like in awe of him.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, guys. So many things to get into, but let's talk about. There's so many stories circulating. What are your favorite stories about the production of this movie that you found? Because there's so many out there. This is one of those movies, kind of like Wizard of Oz, which we should talk about that the correlation between those two, and some of the other classics that everyone has just poured over every single fine tooth. What is your favorite stories from the production of this movie?
I think most of mine revolve around Andre the Giant.
Oh, yes.
I think the most heartwarming one is that Christopher Guest said he tried to make sure he shook his hand every single day on set because he just loved the way his hand disappeared.
That's great.
And then the one where it was really cold filming and he put his whole head on top of Robin Wright's head and it completely warmed her up.
Yeah.
Just by covering her head.
That was sweet.
Yeah, he was just so cute.
Yeah.
I did no research, but Mariah read me some research.
I was sharing.
So there was a really good one about a 16-second fart from Andre the Giant.
I did not know that.
On the parapet before they storm the castle. He says the line and then breaks out in what is recorded, somebody said, as a 16 seconds.
Yeah.
Guys, let's
Rob
just count to
Reiner's
16 right now.
You feel okay, Andre? And he's like, way better now, boss.
Yeah.
6, 7,
And the
9,
mic guy had to
10,
take his headphones
11,
off because it was so loud.
13, 14, 15, 16 seconds, folks. All that soundbite was how long his fart was. That's incredible.
Apparently called everyone boss.
Yeah.
That's a sweet little note. He also bullied Cary Elwes into riding his three-wheeler until which broke Cary Elwes' toe.
Yep.
Right before he had to do a scene.
Yep.
So that's pretty funny.
The passed out on we talked about this where he passed out on the floor of the hotel. My favorite.
Oh, and then.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on.
No,
you go.
No, you go. Stop.
Okay, fine. Fine, I'll go. Fine, I'll go.
Okay, I'll go.
I already kind of touched on this, but apparently, Billy Crystal and
What's her face?
Kane. I can't remember her name. Yeah, the witch.
Valerie.
There we go.
Carol Kane.
But what's Carol Kane?
Yeah.
They came up with the backstories of their characters on the flight to England to film.
Yeah.
And then basically it was they improv'd almost everything.
Yeah,
So
there's
good.
no script with Billy's lines.
Yeah, it was so funny that Rob Reiner and Cary Elwes, who had a little mannequin or something that could just sit in this frame instead of him, had to be in the other room watching on in the display area because they were laughing so much.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it because he kept ruining takes.
Yeah.
One more thing with Andre before we get to more of the other characters. He felt there's a few times in his life where he felt like nobody cared that he was a giant. That was the other thing sweet about this movie. By the way, every interview about this movie is just people loved it.
Yeah.
It was this wonderful experience.
Rob Reiner's favorite book.
It's the opposite of being in the Eagles. You know what I mean? It's just a good experience.
Oh, poor Eagles. Not really.
And Mandy Patinkin, who I maybe incorrectly view as a bit of an ornery person.
Oh, I love him. No, he's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's great in all the stuff he's in, but he seems like...
He seems like a grumpy guy. A little bit.
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a grump. He adores this movie.
Yes.
It's his favorite.
He had.
Yeah.
And people quoting at him. Everyone's I think maybe because it wasn't so popular right when it came out, that it kind of took like a decade for people to like catch on to it. And then everyone loved it. Maybe made it easier for all these famous people to be like, this kind of fandom isn't super horrifying because it like was a slow burn or something. Right. I don't know. It's interesting.
And
but
how
the fact that
annoying
he likes
could it
it
be?
so much, I'm like, oh.
And how annoying could it be for somebody too to get somebody multiple times a day?
Yeah, every day of
to
his life.
Quote that
every
line at him.
Day of his life.
40, almost 40 years after this movie comes out, and he's still delighted and like just happily.
Yeah,
it's like it was the best thing I've ever done.
If you're gonna have one role and one movie that's amazing, that's not bad. That's not bad. This is the one, like, you know.
Also, what is Mandy Patinkin? Like the whole casting, he's such a great Inigo Montoya, and like he's just, I don't know, a Jewish guy. What is Mandy Patinkin?
He's a theater guy, so he's really big in the theater, and so that's what like.
Oh, I know, but like doing that accent.
Oh, right.
You know, like obviously Wall Shawn is not Sicilian.
What?
And there's British people sometimes.
Stop.
And others not. It's like this kind of weird eclectic movie, but like Mandy Patinkin is like, you know, Spanish to me because of this movie.
That's true. No, I
like authentically so. Where I'm like, no, of course he is.
I can't recognize him not as Inigo Montoya. That was how messed up it was because this is such like an iconic role.
It took me till he was in Homeland before I was
For
like,
real.
okay, now he's
For
somebody
reals.
else that I'm okay with. But he had to age that much too.
I mean, I also took a while for me to Claire Danes not be Juliet to me too, so there's that problem too. So that's Claire Danes will always be Juliet to me.
I will say on Mandy Patinkin, if you've never watched, so his son does videos of Mandy and his wife.
Oh, fun.
And they are hilarious.
Really?
Like very much like old grumpy people, but like
they're so cute.
It's so great.
Oh, that's
yes,
awesome.
it's so great. And the things that they like argue about and yeah, it's hilarious. So you got to check that out.
Okay,
it is funny.
Let's talk about Mandy and Carrie and their sword fighting.
All legit.
Oh yes,
so legit.
Lefty.
And who's the choreographer? What else did he do?
Oh,
I know.
I knew when I read As You Wish, because Carrie talks about it. Like every day they weren't on set, they were practicing because they practiced all the time before, and literally between every scene. Like he said, when they did it, it was so automatic by then. It was fine, but like every other thing they shot. Because I think they waited to the end to shoot it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because apparently when they started,
they needed it to be longer.
They're like, there's no way we can train these guys in the time we have, so we got to shoot this last. Yeah. And then also Carrie broke his foot, and the story was they first showed their like, here it is, Rob Reiner, and it was about a minute at full speed, and he was like, is that it? Like you need. He's like, I built this whole set for you guys, and you're only going to use up a minute of it. Like you got to add more stuff. So they did like, I think that's where they added like the gymnastic kind of high bar thing, and they added like 2 more minutes.
Yes,
it's crazy, and it's so good.
So good. It's
Laura,
so good.
what else did that choreographer do?
Star Wars.
No.
Yeah.
Wait,
space battles, all the
fighting
lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It kind of makes you see it a little bit too when you're like thinking back to, especially when they first start. When it
lightsaber,
you're like, oh,
pacing of that with all their little lines is so good.
Yes,
yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, and Carrie did everything except for the flip over that rope thing by himself too.
Yeah, apparently that was kind of a mandatory thing. Rob Reiner's like, I don't want any doubles for this, so you guys just have to do it. Many things like, no problem. Carrie was like, I guess, sure.
So I got to talk about sword fights then. That's funny that you brought Star Wars up because this surpassed Scaramouche. Is that the movie? Because they watched that movie to like.
You can do the Fandango.
All I know is about this from Queen. I'm not sure.
It's so good.
I didn't know,
but now I'm kind of interested.
Like, today, I was like, is that what they're singing about?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It must be.
But that movie, 1952, was considered the longest, and so they wanted to go longer than that. No, that doesn't make sense. That's 6 minutes long. But now it's the longest is Obi-Wan versus and Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan versus Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the longest now in history. But this was supposedly supposed to be the longest in history.
It's so good. Just the whole, like, we're both left-handed. Like, and
I'm
watching
not
it, you're
left-handed.
like, this is all pretty convincing that they are ambidextrous.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
it's amazing.
This is the problem with it. I saw this sword fight before I had seen any other sword fight in any other movie, and I think that's true for a lot of people in our generation. So
It ruined it for all the rest
literally
of them.
ruined it
Yeah.
for the rest. I was like,
Until,
oh, this,
like, Crouching Tiger.
Oh,
you know, you're
100%.
Like,
I was
pretty
like-
crazy.
You're watching Kill Bill and you're like, meh, it's not Princess Bride. It's not that big a deal.
snap-
pick it up,
repartee.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
I know. But honestly, that's the joke. Like, most of us see this sword fight before we've seen any
That's
other
true.
sword fight. So
Yeah.
all of us from the 80s on are ruined. And literally Star Wars took off after this to try to one-up Princess Bride. So Princess Bride is the reason why we think sword fights are all dope. But no, they weren't. This set the standard and blew everything out of the water at that time.
Well, I think part of it is, like, it feels character-driven because...
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's so...
They
it's
have
so
it's
such
not just
great
random dudes.
stories. Yeah, I don't suppose you have
Yeah.
6 fingers on your left hand.
Oh, that
No.
interaction is great. I was watching Dottie the whole time. Oh, it's just so... She was...
Oh, when he tells Christopher Guest when they're like
You've been more than fair.
cuffing him, and he's like, "Oh, you have 6 fingers on your left hand. Someone was looking for you."
and then when he gets it, like, oh,
Is that when he really does get a concussion? That's like one of the
Yeah, I think...
Yes.
But
When
he's like,
Christopher
I want you
thinks-
to really hit me, and then he ends up with like a laceration and like gets knocked out and has to
and
go to
then
the hospital
stop
for the
filming
day.
for a day. That's great.
He's like, "No, really hit me."
That's another
Whoops.
thing. Christopher Guest is in this movie.
Yeah,
And he's so good and
and he's
evil.
so subtle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's like...
Tyrone.
But it's also... He's so maniacal.
yeah.
You know,
Hey,
like,
guys.
you've been searching for me your whole life.
I
and
have-
you
I
found
haven't-
me.
I just took 1 year away from your life.
I
How do you,
haven't-
tell me honestly, how do you feel?
Tyrone, you
This
know
is
how
for
I like your work.
posterity.
I love his name's
Interesting.
Tyrone, too.
Yeah.
Come
That's
on.
the only time you hear.
Does anyone talk about why his name is Tyrone?
Yeah.
Tyrone Regis or something?
Yeah.
Hey, Tyrone.
Doesn't matter. Also,
So
they
silly.
call her Buttercup, but she's only credited as the Princess Bride.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that's...
Why are they called
Speaking
Buttercup?
of this
Buttercup
whole thing,
Productions. It's by Buttercup Productions.
The-
What?
the origin of the book. We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Apparently
go on.
William
Ooh.
Goldman,
Okay.
famous Oscar-winning screenwriter and author, was like having writer's block, and so he asked his young daughters, "Hey, what story should I write?" And one of them was like, "I want a story about a princess."
Stop.
And then one said, "I want a story about a bride."
This is so
He's like,
adorable.
okay.
Stop
Why don't we
it.
just
Mash
mash
it
those
up.
together?
Oh.
I
He
am
wrote The
now.
Princess Bride.
I'm now making all my movies of Dottie's suggestions. Though I am no longer going to make
Somewhere
content.
in there, you're gonna get a doozy.
I'm no.
No, you got
Nice.
to get one suggestion from Dottie and one from Teddy and put them together.
Teddy would be one. He'd be like, bounce on the trampoline.
Cookie Monster
Figure it out,
and
Seth.
Cookie Monster Show.
Yeah.
Cookie Monster Show. Oh my gosh.
I'm down for any Cookie
He's
Monster
so obsessed
Yeah.
with Cookie Monster right now.
who is?
Who isn't? Yeah, he is the funny one. Have you seen that one with Jon Stewart? No, not Jon Stewart. Last night today.
Yeah. Yes.
John Oliver.
yes.
John
John
Oliver
Oliver.
and Cookie Monster.
No.
Holy cow, it's funny.
It's
I
great.
bet.
Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster's the reason why Sesame Street even exists, by the way, because he was so popular on the sketches he did on SNL and the other stuff. And he's like one of the original characters before Sesame. Anyways, sorry, I've been a little bit into Sesame Street because my son is obsessed with all things Sesame Street right now. So
And it's adorable.
We were working on all the character names. Pat, you and I should have a little voice off sometime because I think you might beat me. But
Oh.
I'll hold a candle. I can hold a candle with
Don't
Sesame
even
Street.
know all of them.
We could do it.
We
'cause,
better study up.
Yeah, we got to study up. Pat and I will have a.
I think I can do the count.
You do the Fleury. So this movie
It's great.
Let's just do the rest of the podcast on our favorite Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Birdie.
I never.
Laura, sit in
I didn't like
sit in a
cartoons,
garbage
so-
can and be Oscar the
That's
Grouch.
not a cartoon. They're puppets. Hey there, Bert.
It was a cartoon to me.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm kind of dead inside.
This is not Saved by the Bell. Give me Saved by the Bell.
I wanted reality
Beard off.
television. Yeah.
Oh, Ernie. Okay.
Big edit right here.
Oh.
Did you just mark that, Pat? As something
Yeah, he
like,
does. He marks it. No, he didn't like Pat edits this, please.
He gives Seth notes at the end.
I wish it.
I'm
bad.
just
So,
coaxing. I'm
Princess.
coaxing.
When things went off the rails.
Oh my gosh,
at
I cannot
this
bring the
time.
train back. Come on. I feel like Buster Keaton.
Princess Bride.
Oh.
Yes. Brought it back.
He's on
Folks,
a movie with
it's a movie.
train.
It's called The General. Where we're somehow cheering for the Southern.
I honestly, yes,
This
I
still
was
blows
in the
me away.
shower the other day and I was like, man, it's a bummer. Man,
they
it's a
started
bummer
it.
that he's
That was
fighting
powerful.
for the South.
That was almost a 16-minute fart sound. 16 second, not minute.
Were you just thinking how good The General was, and you feel like bad because you're cheering for the
Yes,
Yeah.
I was literally the other day.
I really wish Buster Keaton had
thought-
got more credit for that.
Buster Douglas really needs to punch his
I
weight.
thought, why was he fighting for the South? Why was it that?
Why was he
It
on?
really puts a cramp in the whole thing. You know? Like, I don't love that part.
Which is why I'm a Charlie Chaplin fan,
You
folks.
know,
That's just how it
The
goes.
movie's over 100 years old. You might want to let it go.
And although
Stop
Stop worrying about it in the shower.
It's silent.
you're not wrong though, Pat. You're not
mean,
wrong.
The Confederacy
It's
only existed
bothersome,
for
but
4
he at
years
least
or
went back
something.
and forth.
We
It's
don't
fine.
need anyone to be
Oh
a
my
fan
gosh.
of it.
That's so good.
There are
tell your
trash
mother that.
TV shows on for less time.
Stop. Okay. So, The Princess Bride, the book. This is my other hot take. The book is not as good as the movie.
Oh, no.
That is my other hot take.
Doesn't happen often.
No.
Does
That is
not
a good
happen
hot
often.
Always the case.
It is infinitely
Laura
better.
can get behind that hot take.
Right? I'm not wrong on
Yeah.
this. Like, it seems to be almost a consensus that the movie is better than
That
the
books
book.
aren't
which is
as good as movies. Yes. Globally.
Well, often you can
Sometimes.
say so much more in the book, and you have to cut out so much in the movie that it's just not as good of a story. But
Yeah, it turns out they actually made books of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I had no idea that they actually made a book version. But
Yeah.
apparently those are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Apparently they were quite good.
They
They can
added a
elaborate.
bunch of extra stuff.
yes,
add extra characters.
My husband's really bad at saying
Yeah.
the names.
Yeah.
Hermione.
Hermione,
The
Hermione, for the whole book until I walked
Hermione.
into the bedroom. I'm like, what did you just say?
That's so good. Hey,
That's
And
not
that's
her
how it's
name.
spelled.
I'm not gonna lie. Me listening to books on tape has really helped my pronunciation.
Yeah,
when I'm reading things.
absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, apparently William Goldman put himself into the book. It's really interesting, actually, the differences. And I haven't read the book, so this is a person reading articles on the internet to
About the
explain
book.
the differences
Yeah.
between the book. Have you read the book, Seth?
No, I haven't.
No.
Thanks for calling me out, by the way. I was hoping you would.
I thought you
Yeah,
said
yeah.
you
He's
read the book.
he's
No, no.
read the book about
Oh,
the movie,
oh,
but
none
not
of
the
us-
actual
none of us
book.
here have
You were
read.
shaming us for
Yeah.
not reading the
I
book.
was
but
reading
you
the
haven't
book
not
about the book.
You
Okay.
haven't read
I'm
the
not
book
gonna lie,
about the movie
but I have,
based on the book?
But I was waiting for it to come in my I use the public library app, and so it has not come
Yeah.
through yet. It's
Sure,
in my-
The
Seth,
book
sure.
is in my house. Kira has the book.
Oh, she read it. Can we get her on the podcast next week?
No.
Yeah, what's
But
Kira
apparently,
doing?
I mean, she's out there. She's watching the new,
Get on with it.
She's watching next week.
whatever, the Descendants, the new Descendants
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Classic. Very classy, snobby movie. No, that apparently in the
Read
book,
something.
it's like William Goldman is basically saying, hey, here's the interesting parts of this historical story about Gilder and all these things. And he just cut out all the stuff that he thought wasn't as interesting. And that is like the book version of The Princess Bride. Whereas the movie is like S. Morgenstern, who, again, was like the historian in the book version, just was the author of this fairy tale in the movie. So I felt like it cut out a meta layer that worked better as a book, but we get the meta layer by Fred Savage and Peter Falk talking about the movie. So they could they simplified it in a way I think that really worked. And William Goldman wrote both, so he did a really good job editing his own stuff for film.
And he gave Miracle Max and his wife his parents' names.
Oh, that's cool.
Cute.
That's cool because they're ugly. No.
Harsh.
I can't. I have no proof of that. I do want to take a quick thing. Mel Smith as the albino.
Oh, this is a sad fact.
Intro. So good.
So good. So good.
You're in the pit of despair. You're in the pit of despair.
Oh, the fact that this movie
don't even think about escaping.
It doesn't take itself serious like ever, and it's so that it makes it so much better because it doesn't. It's making fun of itself, but in the perfect way. It just walks this amazing line of like being. It's not as ridiculous because he just did Spinal Tap, so he understands how to make fun of himself. But then he also does Stand By Me. So he's like, he knows how to do this magical thing.
Did you get the fun fact or not?
Yes,
fun fact for him.
The horrible fact.
Poor guy.
He's never watched this movie. And why, Mariah?
Because he was traumatized because he was allergic to the lens solution for the lenses that he had to wear. And so he was in excruciating pain the whole time. And then tell anybody was just like, I'll just be fine. And now he won't watch it because it reminds him of the pain he was in when he was doing it.
And he killed it in that movie. He was so good. He was so funny.
That'd be like people like not looking at their baby because they
it hurt too bad. I don't want to look at it.
That's a good one, Laura. That's a good one. That's so good.
Maybe he's being a little dramatic.
Don't get it out of
Laura
here.
gets points for that. That was money. Oh, that was great.
Ring of Fire. Get out.
I mean, we didn't.
Shoot.
No, we've heard.
We're going to have to change the rating on this, Pat.
Yeah.
I can't even tell he was wearing contact lenses. I think that's the really the most tragic part.
I'm not going to lie. I said the same thing.
You should have said something.
It was an unnecessary blue eye that didn't work that well, and it just made his life miserable because you could not tell. I agree with that.
Poor guy.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The albino was plenty.
So this movie, when they were making it, they kept saying, we're not going to be Wizard of Oz. Because they said, in that, we don't want to be, we want to be a hit when we come out. We don't want to be a hit later because they can't figure out how to market us. And the irony was,
that's exactly
they
what happened.
100% were the Wizard of Oz, which people didn't watch Wizard of Oz in theaters. They watched it in the second run of theaters, the third run of theaters. And then Wizard of Oz became like the most influential movie of that era. And Princess Bride has literally became the next generation's Wizard of Oz. And I would say that Princess Bride is one of the bigger cultural impacts of that era, not that year, because it wasn't like that year thing, but of that era that changed things. Same thing with the Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz took all the movie wisdom of the time and threw it on its head. And even though it didn't it just made a modest profit like this one did. It changed movie making because the Wizard of Oz is so quotable, just like the Princess Bride. The Princess Bride became the Wizard of Oz and
that's one of those Mandy Patinkin gratitude things. Is like I'm happy to have been part of the Wizard of Oz. I loved it.
Get over your eyes, Mel. Realize you should be grateful.
Maybe
right,
watch
Laura?
it one time.
Yeah. Jeez.
So I would is there any? I haven't seen anything, but what have they made over time? Do these actors?
I was trying to figure that out, but I can't. I don't know. I don't know if they're. I don't think they have percentages. I don't know any of that stuff. I could not find it anywhere.
No, probably
so that'd be a good one for
they
the research
obviously got roles off of it.
That was
not
literally,
royalties.
That was literally what I was asking myself the same questions. And because back then there was no hey, VHS is going to be real big soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is
a decade later.
What did it come out on first? Did it come out on VHS or was it beta or was it Laserdisc?
We'll build VHS first, but it didn't get big until later in the 80s, in the 90s. So it wasn't until the later 80s and 90s. Until
our family picked it up.
Honestly,
because
over
and over we get it on first.
Probably VHS. Because I
don't
think
know, Seth,
your
we
beta.
had a lot of.
No, well, you guys would have bought the Vita and not bought the VHS, but the
We might have
VHS
had it on Laserdisc.
probably came
Laser,
out first.
yeah.
Because Laserdisc was a later technology.
No, we had lasers before VHS.
There's a different Laserdisc first.
The huge
We
ones.
had all of it.
I
Yeah.
know.
We had all of it.
You're the
For
only people I know who
for
have
my
it.
dad
I
still
remember.
typing in all caps, and you feel like he's yelling at you. He had all the technology.
Oh, I know. Oh, I tell people that all the time. So,
Until
folks,
we got the 10-foot
so I have a question about this
dish in the
because
backyard, and then things kind of took a turn.
Worked for like 2 years. Or something.
first of all, that wasn't a 10-foot dish. That was a
huge.
30-foot
Yeah,
dish.
it was ginormous.
That was
right.
not.
It
No,
took-
from the ground. I'm talking
Oh
about like
yeah.
diameter.
But it was bigger than most people's backyard.
It was
Yeah,
big.
for sure, and it moved every time you changed the channel.
Yeah, it was so cool.
It was like it's like that joke that Jeff
We also
Foxworthy
had-
have.
We had Pip. Remember that? Do you remember
Yeah,
Pip?
picture in picture.
Pip?
No, you do have Pip.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was great.
We were cool.
Yeah.
literally.
yeah, the
Is the
VHS
commercial over on that channel? Yes, switch over.
That's what. Yeah, now it's commonplace, but you guys had it like before. It was
Yeah.
cool. Your guys' house is actually the only thing that helped me understand the joke by Jeff Foxworthy. If you've ever had sex in a satellite dish, you know you're a redneck.
We were also talking about water beds.
I don't think
too
it was
this
that
week,
sturdy
so,
of a
yeah.
satellite
Well,
dish.
there you go. There you go, folks. PG-13. Sorry, guys. I just ruined the podcast again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
What's a little confusing to me
Oh, I got this.
is I'm trying to figure out when it came out on VHS.
Oh, that's good luck.
And I'm guessing it's
Just gonna read
1994
this while you wait for you
based
to
off
find
this New Line home video. We all remember the New Line.
I was
Oh, yeah.
12 when I
VHS
watched it
releases.
for the first time. That seems
That-
old.
out. Yeah, for us.
Yeah, the other thing, there is a
We watched
1988
inappropriate-
We'd seen all the James Bonds. with
Nelson thing, but I don't know. That's my best guess.
That's pretty good.
So I remember about 10.
Yes.
And that's the other thing I was kind of realizing was I was very much in the Fred Savage age interest of what this movie was probably the first time I saw it. I was
The
like, I didn't like the
kissing
kissing,
scene,
romantic
yeah.
stuff, but I liked the sword fight and I liked, the adventure-y stuff. And then I didn't get any of the jokes probably really
Yeah.
for forever. And it is like, it's so rewatchable,
Yeah.
like a good any family movie. Where like, oh yeah, now I get so much more every time I watch
Yes.
this thing.
Yeah.
Including with closed captioning what Andre the Giant is saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But I still hadn't gotten that far yet.
So good.
Finally.
You
Yeah.
turn into an old person having your clothes down.
Yeah.
After you guys watched this movie, how did you feel about this movie? Like, did it change? Did it change the way you felt about it? Did it change the way you feel about some of your other movies? Did it make your top 10? Just wondering. Right here.
If you could be proven right or something.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm right, but I'm right.
Right. It holds up. I love it.
Hold up.
There's not a lot of complaints about this movie. It's pretty good.
Timeless.
I do probably watch it when it comes on.
Oh,
every
it
time.
could
There we
creep
go.
into Loris. You never know.
Top 20 at least, Laura? We'll
I
give you
should
top
make.
20.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sweet.
I-
20's pretty good.
And I should have the kids watch it because they.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
Mariah
honestly,
shames me all the time
Just
for
to see
not.
their reaction, just to see if they appreciate it. Because some movies I love and they're like, "That's dumb."
No,
Oh yeah,
and
there's
Hazel,
some where Finn's like, no.
Hazel loves like. We've been watching Anne of Green Gables.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
been watching.
Oh, this will be a. this is a slow
If they
softball.
like
then.
Anne of Green Gables,
They'll like
this
this.
is like cocaine.
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh no, she likes the real stuff.
Yeah.
But Mariah
She also likes
shames me.
horror
Yeah,
movies.
that's what I say. Mariah
Oh,
shames me for the
jeez.
things I haven't had my kids watch. But she comes
I
to
watched
town
the
and they
first
stay
Scream with
up
them
and
last
watch
time I
scary
was in
movies.
town.
Stop
I was
it.
like,
Yes.
all right, you guys ready?
That's funny.
It's like, now you have to watch all of
They
them.
watch scary
Real
movies.
scary.
Hazel's
Okay.
favorite is like Megan.
Guys,
Yeah.
that's
Anyway.
funny. We're gonna go on a little tangent here because
Because
Dottie,
we haven't done that at all today.
Yeah.
Hasn't
For the
watched
first
Scream
time.
yet?
no, she will not watch Scream because I'm terrified of it. I think it's hilarious, but I think it's
yeah, I don't watch scary
it's-
movies.
Yeah, neither do I.
I
It's
love
not
them.
that scary.
They're
So-
so good.
It's not that scary.
We're
seen
going.
it.
We're going
It's
left here
not.
now that Princess Bride is on Disney Plus. I feel like I can talk about this, but we're totally going left here. So I was stoked that Dottie was like, like lame rides at Disneyland, and we were great. But now Dottie is 6, and that's like adult basically. Apparently,
Yeah.
We went to
Ride-wise?
Disneyland.
For
oh
sure.
my goodness. We went a year ago and we were on all of the Fantasyland rides. No big deal.
Could have spent your whole day there.
48
Guess what
inches
we
now.
did this time? Guardians
Tower
of
of
the
Terror.
Galaxy Tower of Terror. I
Did
was
you
like,
do Tower of Terror? Because we did that to Quinn the first time and kind of traumatized
No.
him.
But he
She-
went back and
He
did it the next
yeah.
time.
He likes it now.
She did
But yeah,
Space
he did.
Mountain.
Well-
She did anything that she was tall enough. She did it and loved. Like when we went on the Guardian of the Galaxy. First of all, it's so good. By the way,
Yeah.
it's so well. Like
Mission Breakout.
it's so good, Mission Breakout, because you walk through and you get a little backstory. So she's asking me what the story is, because of course she hasn't seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Finn
because
hasn't
I'm a
either.
good parent.
Hey, Finn hasn't either because I can't get him to watch it. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's funny.
do you want to do this one next?
It's
no.
so funny. It's so good.
Fine.
And so we go through, we talk the whole thing, and she gets on it, and she's a little, it's not as harsh as some things. Like I remember going on a ride in Universal Studios Tokyo, overseas.
I lived there.
What were you
Have you
doing?
been there?
Well, actually, it's Universal Studios Osaka. And so when it goes up and down, it's scary. And you could tell she was like kind of freaked out, but then she was like really getting into it. At the end, everyone on the ride gave her a high five, like way
they
to
were
go.
amazed
Like
at
so,
her.
she was just like cloud nine, loving
See,
it.
My kid's scary movie, intense stuff watcher wouldn't go on any of those. He would stick in Fantasyland the whole
Oh,
time.
it's so funny how different that is,
Scariest
right?
ride at Disneyland, just so you know, as an adult, is Goofy's Wild Ride or Fly School.
It is.
Goofy's
Because
Fly
Yeah.
School.
Sharp 90-degree
so-
turn.
And you just see the whole
It's
track.
really
and
gonna
rough.
die.
It's awful. I will never
love
do it
that.
again.
It
hurts.
just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense
That's funny.
engineering-wise that we wouldn't fly off
Yeah,
the
Matt's
site.
like, I weigh way too much for this to not fly.
that is too sharp a turn for the people that are in this car.
Yeah, never again.
The Mickey one's awesome though, in Toontown.
Oh, yes.
That was
Toontown
really
was
good.
closed when we went,
Yeah,
so
it hadn't opened yet.
thanks for
it's
rubbing
worth
it
a
in.
watch.
Well,
It's worth a watch when you go back again.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good. That Mickey one is great. Yeah, so good. So guys, I have to admit, is this our new least snobby movie we've done on the podcast? We've done A Wonderful Life, so it's close. It's A Wonderful Life, or this has got to be the
Christ,
least
Barbie.
snobby.
Barbie's not snobby.
Yeah.
Barbie's
That's
not that
true.
snobby.
Barbie is literally the picture of pop culture now. At least it
Yeah.
was when we watched
Snow
it.
White and the Seven Dwarfs.
No,
also
that's
we
snobby.
did.
You know
No.
why that's snobby?
Because it's old.
Because they're not going to
Why
make
is that
a live action version of it.
They tried.
They sure did.
Doesn't work out.
Tried.
Doesn't work out.
That's not PC, guys.
No, it was. They apparently didn't do well either.
No.
It doesn't help when the lead characters
It's
trashing it.
It's close. It's close.
It's close.
For sure.
It's still. I still think it is. It's timeless. One of the most timeless movies ever made, and it's just. I could not find a bad. I could find some bad things written about it, but it was very like. This is boring. I don't like it. Like not well. Like.
Besides the contacts, was there any of the actors that said that they disliked it or had a hard time with it?
No,
Or
literally.
Everybody
I feel
Everyone
like
said they had a
that.
lot
I feel
of
like
fun.
that
Yeah.
is a big deal.
It's
Yeah.
huge, and
I-
that's always the case.
I think a lot of them knew of the book when it came out, and Rob Reiner seemingly is a nice guy and made it a fun set. And,
Yeah, Rob Reiner.
yeah, so I think
His
everyone had a
dad
good time
gave him
making the
that
movie.
book while they were on the set of All in the
All in
Family.
Yeah,
And they were
that's
like, we
right.
thought you'd really like this book. And it turned out to be his favorite. And then he made
That's
it.
so good. No, Rob Reiner seemed like he's like kind of that glue guy. Like when he's on the movie, everyone's stoked to be there. And you have all these actors who are like kids, because you got Carrie and I just forgot her name.
Robin,
right?
Robin Wright.
And they're just kids. And then you have Andre the Giant, who's like, he knows his wrestling career is at an end basically, and he's just happy to be there, and everyone seems to treat him so well. And then you have he just seems to be this glue. Everyone seems just genuinely
he makes
happy to
every
be there.
movie a great ensemble, like Sleepless in Seattle and
Is Billy
When Harry Met
Crystal?
Sally.
Is Billy
and
Crystal just great to work with too? I haven't heard much bad
probably
about him.
I imagine he is.
So
City Slickers.
I've met Billy Crystal.
What?
No, you
I
haven't.
have.
No, sir. You're a liar.
Sir, yes, sir.
Get out of here.
Get out of town. I was at.
Was it in Asia?
Has
No,
everyone,
it was in Hall. It was in L.A.
Has everyone done their favorite person famous person they've met? Have you guys talked about?
No,
no.
but Billy, I haven't met Billy
No.
Crystal, and he was with some 20-something-year-old in Santa Monica Boulevard. And I said, this is what I said to him. My dad's a big fan of your movies.
Oh.
I feel like that's
That's the only thing I can think of. It's funny when you meet someone.
Just say I'm a big fan
No,
of your
it's
movies.
funny when you meet someone, you just kind of like whatever comes up, you know? And like, I could have been like, I'm glad you wore a Mets hat and City Slickers. Like, that's what I should have said, you know,
Yeah.
as a Mets fan.
Go
like,
Mets.
I should have been like, you're
just said that.
one of
I'm
the funniest
gonna
people ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome.
That was an
By the way,
accident.
Pat,
To go for
I was
it.
pretending to be somebody else.
I'm still mad at you because you know one of Dottie's favorite shirts is still that stupid sequins Cubs shirt.
I love
that
it.
she wears all the
I
time.
tell her
It's
every
the
time
worst.
it's so good. She
It's
wore it
so
on
bad.
4th of July.
Because it's the 4th of July because they're stupid Cubs.
Yeah, they are kind
so
of
that's
stupid right
that
now.
was my one that relates to this movie.
Well,
Maybe
mine
the most
doesn't
famous.
relate to this movie.
Oh wait, go ahead, go for it.
But Kyle MacLachlan
Same.
held my baby, Delaney.
I
That's
watched it
pretty
happen.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Who's
Which-
Kyle
We
MacLachlan?
I
did
have
do
a
a
picture.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Who's Kyle
study.
MacLachlan?
Huh?
Dune.
Dude, Blue Velvet.
Sex in the City.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Portlandia.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
The
that's great.
mayor. The mayor
she's
held her
easily-
baby.
Wait,
Snobby.
she's the
Kyle.
in Dune. She's
He.
Oh, he.
Kyle.
MacLachlan.
Oh God, I'm gonna.
who's he in Dune?
the
He's
main
guy?
What's his face?
The prince.
Not the new Dune. The
Oh.
old
No,
Dune.
the old
David
Dune.
Lynch Dune.
Original Dune.
Oh,
Blue Velvet. He's a David Lynch guy.
okay. I don't
Twin
feel,
Peaks.
I don't feel as bad not knowing him.
Sex in the
Sorry, Kyle.
City.
I don't care as
You
much.
don't.
I
You've
don't care as
seen
much.
him.
I know I've seen
We
him.
watched a movie about him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. He's fine.
Twin
And he's
Peaks.
what was?
Have you not seen Twin
what
Peaks?
was his drink?
Get out.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. What was his weird?
Heineken. I do remember his drink. I don't remember his name, but I remember his drink.
It's Heineken.
Oh, that
I'll
was
find-
so
I'll
great.
find
No, I know who
Laura's
he is.
Dern.
I know who he is.
I just want to.
I know who he is, but that's
this
pretty
is
good.
so disappointing.
That's so good. Okay, is that your most famous person too?
Yeah, I think so.
Pat? I mean, I met Bob Barker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you were.
What
on
did you
the
win
show.
again? I forget. What
I
did
won
you
a
win?
coffee maker and a shaving, and I got $1,500 and a crystal glass set. I was on Price is Right, folks. But you can't look it up
Sort of.
because you know why?
I sort of met.
Because you were
oh,
wearing.
Because it
something
was Colin
offensive.
Powell's announcement to say we're going back to the Gulf War. No, oh, that is great. Oh, that's cool. Can we show that? I'm gonna put that-
I don't think you can see
There
it.
you go. We'll send that to
Delaney.
We'll put it on the thing.
but Delaney.
Okay, who's your most famous person, Pat?
I met Rosemary Harris, who played Aunt May in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yes.
She's
Oh, yeah.
She's
And
Okay,
I
cool.
told her, "You're my favorite Aunt May," and I don't think she heard me. It was after
Did
a
you
Broadway
whisper
show
it?
Heather was in.
That's great.
No, she was just there for just a sec, and I was like, "You're my favorite Aunt May." I don't know if I even believe that, but I thought it was good.
Yeah.
That was
That's
a nice
good.
compliment.
That
We
was
were,
nice.
we were also
Better
in
than
line.
you're my dad's
We were also
friend.
in line at Splash Mountain behind one of my favorite bands,
Oh,
Goldfinger.
yeah, Goldfinger.
And
That
we
was awesome.
said while we were in the ride, "We love you, Goldfinger."
Yes, I
Because we're
remember.
dorks.
That was cool. That was great.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
was
This is a kind of a funny one. No. So I met, oh gosh, I forget the other people. The other one I met was, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of Goldfinger right now. Okay, keep talking. It'll come back to me. I've met so many famous people. So many famous
I
people.
just, I'm basically on a red carpet every day.
Yeah, basically every day. That's so funny. I was just like, I was in New York and I met Anna Paquin in a poster shop. Oh. And I said, was it? And her, and I didn't notice her, but her friend was gorgeous. Whoever her friend was, she was just like one of the most attractive humans I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, that's Anna Paquin, like right next to her. And so like, I was like, was it so fun to work on X-Men? That's what I asked her. And she's like, yeah.
I did actually.
I'm like, cool.
Good
Maybe
talk.
a slightly more modern person is Pablo Schreiber,
Nice.
who plays Master Chief in the Halo show.
There we go,
He was
Pat.
in Orange
I was
is
just
the
saying,
New Black.
Pat, with all of your like,
mustache,
Come
whatever.
on,
Oh
dude.
yeah, the mustache.
yeah, that's good stuff
yeah.
there.
He was at my desk at work, and I was showing him animation. So that was fun.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's you actually like talked to him.
I went to,
Spent some time.
I actually talked to him.
Yeah.
That's
He
actually like,
complained
oh, that's
that he
perfect.
couldn't move the way he moved. I animated the guy. He's like, I can't move in the suit like that. Sorry, guy.
Sorry, dude, you can now.
Yeah.
I went to a taping of Two Guys in a Pizza Place. Two guys in a pizza place. Is that
Two
guys,
guys,
a
a
gal?
girl, and a pizza
Yeah.
place.
Nathan Fillion and Ryan Reynolds in a TV show? Are you
I
kidding me?
never knew who they.
And it wasn't that good a TV show.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I just
liked
remember
it.
Well,
watching
they had
it.
to drop it to two guys and a girl because people were like, no one's going to say that long.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
title.
Pizza.
I remember I watched it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of dumb. And then years later, I'm like, I remember I'm going to this tape on two guys. Ryan Reynolds was there?
Yeah.
I've seen Ryan Reynolds in real life.
I think he still
That's
had the dark
weird.
roots and bleached ends.
Oh, for
it
sure.
was not good.
It's just funny, like, you like, oh, yeah, I've met that. Okay, because it's in the wrong context.
Yeah.
When you see him before, it's just hilarious.
Sure.
And it's, so here's my story, guys, and this we'll end the night with this because we're going way too late.
This better be a good one.
I was on
End the
Price.
show on it.
I was on Price is Right.
No pressure.
There we go. My Price is Right story.
This is pre-Drew Carey.
This is pre-Drew
Bob
Carey.
Barker.
This is before
Stop, the original.
Rod Rodney died. We still had Rod Rodney, and he was hilarious.
I think it's
He
just
warmed up the
Roddy.
crowd. Roddy, he killed it. Either way,
It's not Rodney.
Bob Barker talked. Bob talked about how he doesn't golf anymore, even though he's in Happy Gilmore, because he talked about that. Like, oh yeah, I actually can't golf because of my back, but everyone else gives me golf clubs. So I got on there. I was like the first one on. I bet the guy behind me $50. I wouldn't say dude to Bob Barker. It's like, so I bet $1. And I said $1, dude, and I got on. The other guy who got on with me was from Hawaii. He's like, oh yeah, I'm the first person in the history of Hawaii to get on the show. And so I'll be on all the local news,
that seems
right?
insane.
Right? I was the third person in my hall that had been on the show that year.
In your tiny
In my
school.
tiny school. So that's how different it is.
Didn't Larice or Anissa like give tips on how to get on? Like
No,
they were
she
talking
didn't.
about.
They
Wheel
were
of
in
Fortune.
the audience a lot.
Yeah.
of
They were in
times,
Wheel of
though.
Fortune. So
Do
all-
a backflip.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so the thing with the Price is Right, it's different than because they're in
Take
Wheel
your
of
shirt
Fortune.
off.
You have to. They pick.
Do a flip. And take
They
a picture.
interview every single audience member. So every single person who's been on the Price
So they
is Right.
probably picked him before you even
Yes.
sit.
And if you bring 10 or more people, one of you will get on.
Oh.
That's the key to get on. And so we brought 10 people from my college, and so of course we got on, and we do that every year, and so that's how we get. That's my show.
Excellent.
Guys, The Princess Bride's a good movie. You should watch it.
Great.
Yeah.
That's the end of this one.
Classic.
I might start listening to the
And I gotta
know.
start reading the
tomorrow
rule
on the way
book.
home.
This is better. Oh gosh.
Who's gonna borrow
as
the
you
book?
wish. You should watch. Listen. Whatever.
Yeah.
Read. Anyways. Guys,
Learn.
I'm Seth,
Mariah.
Laura.
and we are How to Be a Movie Snob. Thanks for listening, guys. Go watch this movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. I don't care what everybody says. Just go do it. Okay, guys. See you next week. Till later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have fun storming the castle.
It'll take a miracle.
You think they're gonna make it?
It'll take a miracle.
Or you think it'll work?
You think it'll work?
Take a miracle.
That's your wish.